welcome to the Intel Brief, your daily intelligence briefing on global geopolitics. Today is Wednesday, 6 November. I'm your host Daniel, the founder of HM Intelligence, and every weekday we bring you not just the news, but the so what from the events and decisions that shape our world. So grab a coffee and get ready to be informed. In today's update, we won't be covering the US election of Donald Trump, but we will be covering Netanyahu, who has dismissed his defense minister. Ukraine has reported its first clashes with North Korean troops, and opium production in Afghanistan is on the rise. So firstly, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has dismissed the Defense Minister Gallant amid ongoing tensions surrounding the war in Gaza. Netanyahu cited a crisis of trust as the primary reason for the removal, pointing out that while internal collaboration was effective, trust had eroded in recent months. The rift deepened as Gallant openly opposed Netanyahu's military-centric approach to Gaza, advocating instead for a diplomatic solution to ensure the release of hostages. The Foreign Minister, Israel Katz, will now assume Gallant's former role, promising to pursue military objectives such as defeating Hamas and Hezbollah. Gideon Saar is set to replace Katz as the new foreign minister. Reactions to Gallant's dismissal have been mixed and sparked significant public response. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir supported the move, while the former Defense Minister Benny Gantz criticised it as politics at the expense of national security. Thousands of Israelis gathered in Tel Aviv to protest, demanding that Katz prioritise efforts to secure the deal for the hostages released in Gaza. The protests reflect growing public discontent and call for a strategic shift that balances military action with humanitarian priorities. The grassroots reform representing hostages' families condemned Gallant's removal, seeing it as an obstruction to negotiations that could secure the hostages' return. So what? This is an interesting move at this stage in the conflict, and I tend to agree with Gvir's comments around this being a political move that does not benefit national security. While it is likely Israel policies will remain unchanged, this instability will not be helpful for the military and security leadership who are looking to the government ministers for strategic direction. And next, Ukraine has confirmed its first military engagement with North Korean troops recently deployed to assist Russia, marking a significant escalation in the conflict. Ukrainian Defense Minister noted that the engagement, which involved artillery fire directed at North Korean soldiers in Russia's Kursk region, where Ukraine has been conducting cross-border operations. President Volodymyr Zelensky emphasized that this move by Pyongyang introduces a new page in instability globally and called for concentrated international efforts to counter this expansion. In response, he expressed gratitude to the allies preparing supportive measures against this development, underscoring the strategic importance of a unified front. The presence of North Korean troops, estimated to be between 10,000 and 12,000, signals a notable intensification of military cooperation between North Korea and Russia. This collaboration has raised alarms among G7 nations and allied countries who condemned it as a dangerous expansion of the conflict and a sign of Russia's desperation. The G7's joint statement criticized North Korea's involvement and ballistic missile exports to Russia, emphasizing that such actions are in violation of UN Security Council resolutions. The global concern underscores the potential for broader destabilization, urging strict vigilance and action against this emerging alliance. So what? It is interesting to see that Russia is currently only using North Korean troops within its own borders and has yet to deploy them into the occupied regions. It is possible that this is to avoid an additional international condemnation and to be seen as an escalatory measure that may be reciprocated by the US, UK, and other allies. However, if Russia gets to the point where it is lacking troops in some of the zones in the occupied area, it is likely they will redeploy North Korean troops there and just deal with the consequences. And lastly, a UN report has revealed that opium poppy cultivation in Afghanistan has risen by 19% in 2024, despite the Taliban's ban on its production. This spike followed a sharp 95% decline in production post-ban, marking a significant shift, but still leaving current levels far below those seen before prohibition. The UN Office of Drugs and Crime annual survey noted that cultivation had expanded by 12,800 hectares, with dry opium prices skyrocketing to about $730 per kilogram, up from the pre-ban average of $100. This increase in profitability may be incentivizing farmers to bypass the ban, particularly as the Afghan population grapples with severe economic and humanitarian crises. The report highlighted geographic shift in cultivation from the southwest heartlands to the northwest mountainous regions that saw a 381% increase in poppy farming. The southwest, meanwhile, experienced a 65% reduction in production, with Helmand province as an exception that witnessed a dramatic rise of 400%. Efforts by the Taliban to destroy poppy fields led to deadly clashes, underscoring the complexities in enforcing the ban. The Taliban has called for international help to support the farmers in adopting sustainable, legal livelihoods, and emphasized that the UN should be supporting this initiative. So what? I mean, this shouldn't be a surprise, particularly as Afghanistan's economy continues to collapse. What is interesting is the areas in which production has been boosted, particularly the mountainous areas in the northeast near the Chinese border, possibly indicate it's being smuggled into China. Thank you for listening to the Intel Brief, your daily intelligence briefing on global geopolitics, brought to you by HM Intelligence. If you want to support the podcast, tell your friends to help them stay informed and leave us a 5-star review. Or if you want to learn more about intelligence, why not take one of our courses? They're all online, self-paced and affordable. Thank you for listening. I've been your host Daniel, and I'll see you next time.